Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In a previous video we talked about using a shotgun to hunt white-tailed deer and using the correct combination of ammunition and barrel to get the best result. That got Matt and I to thinking about filming a video using double-aught buckshot because a lot of people in states where they're permitted to do so do use that for a hunting round. You're not allowed to do that in Ohio, and I would encourage everybody to educate themselves on what the hunting laws are in their jurisdiction because they do vary quite a lot, sometimes even within the same state. So what we have on our range today here at beautiful Ghost Town is I'm going to shoot some double-aught buckshot at some varying distances, 10, 25, 40, 50, and 60 yards to show how much the pattern comes apart at a magical set distance. Now, obviously, barrel length plays a factor. The type of ammunition plays a factor, meaning whether it's a 3-inch shell, a 2 3/4-inch shell. So this should be not taken literally as scientific fact. What we're trying to demonstrate is that they certainly do not perform the same way as a rifle round and, for a lot of people, a slug round. But it will work provided that the hunter is fully aware of what's going to happen to his particular ammunition at a set distance. So let's get geared up and do some shooting. For today's video, I'm going to be using a semi-automatic 12-gauge shotgun by Citadel. It has a shorter barrel, I think, than most people would probably prefer for hunting. However, it will perform the same at different distances. I think the only variable would be if we switched shotguns, which obviously we're not going to do. The ammunition for today will be 9 pellet double-aught buckshot from Buffalo Cartridge in 2 3/4-inch. I've used these before on the video. I've always gotten good luck with them. So we're going to see what kind of pattern we get at 10 yards. I suspect it would be more than adequate for hunting deer. Weapon's empty and it's on safe. So I held up to center, a little bit of a high strike if that's your bullseye. However, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It's effective, but you also have to keep in mind to get to 10 yards, you're going to have to be very careful with your stalking skills. Perhaps you're in a tree stand. At that point, you're still going to have to pay attention to your clothes, very mindful of your scent to even get to this close. In my mind, it's one of the reasons why people take ill-advised shots, especially with buckshot, because they can't physically get close enough to the deer as they would prefer. One of the reasons why game jurisdictions throughout the country have banned the use of buckshot is, as you can tell, it has a relatively poor performance related to accuracy even at 30 feet. It's not a very ethical way to treat animals. If we know our equipment and do the right things in the field, it would go a long way towards protecting our hunting rights and getting some more of the antis onto our side. The next yardage that we're going to be working at is 25 yards, of course 75 feet. Put the weapon back on safe. So, as you can tell at 25 yards, it's certainly true that the pattern to the shells is starting to spread out dramatically. We actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's number 9. Now, as you can tell, we do have a rough, or what I would call a loose collection of half of the stopping power of the shell, but most of it migrates to places where you're going to wound the animal, which could potentially be a reason why a lot of jurisdictions don't want you to use buckshot on whitetail. It's definitely panning out to be true that it's an in-close type of ammunition. We're going to continue our demonstration, this time at 40 yards. Weapons on safe. So 40 yards, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I would say 9. So at 40 yards, we do have all of the pellets striking the target backer, but notice only one anywhere close to the center of the dartboard, so to speak. Now, before this kind of lends your potential thinking to one of those pellets would likely kill a deer, not a fan of it. We have to have a way higher concentration and way less migration. So, my opinion, we're already beyond the point where this is an ethical choice for whitetail deer hunting. One of the issues you have when you're an ethical hunter is what's the likely outcome at the distance I'm shooting, what ammunition I'm shooting in my particular skill set. This outcome will only lend itself to a wounded deer. If this was the sweet spot, heart and lungs behind the front shoulder, you'll notice most of it would have migrated upwards, perhaps into the brisket and neck area, which eventually may cause the deer to die. The issue is he'll die a slow and painful death. Not something any hunter would want to have happen out in the field. So this will be double-aught buckshot at 50 yards. So 50 yards, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that might actually be our first one at any yard line that's actually in the black. 5, 6, 7, and it would appear for the first time at 50 yards we've actually are missing 2 impacts out of 9 pellets. As we discussed in the previous yard line, this is not acceptable, period. Any ethical hunter, when you have this many pellets to the left and the right of the target, it's obviously not the shooter. You will not be successful at this range. And if you are, it's just dumb luck. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Our previous shotgun video has been getting some excellent comments, and people, as I suspected, weren't quite aware of what combinations they needed. Now, a few years back in the state of Ohio, they okayed the use of a straight wall cartridge for hunting deer, which is, say, example would be a 450 Bushmaster, 350 Legend, and a lot of other pistol rounds, say 44 Magnum and the like. Those, in my opinion, are a much more effective way to go to hunt whitetail instead of a shotgun with buckshot. For obvious reasons, if you continue to watch the entire video, you'll see what I mean. Those are actually excellent rounds for the ethical harvesting of deer, and you can use them on some other types of games as well, say potential wild hog if you're into hunting those types of things. And you actually have ranches and outfitters for that, and even in places like Ohio. In my opinion, that's the way to go. Leave the buckshot for self-defense. In that application, it really has no equal, but out in the field, not a fan.